It's time for Baby and Toddler Instructions with host Blythe Lippman. Blythe is a nationally renowned infant and toddler expert who has over 30 years' experience helping moms and dads regain their sanity, teaching them how to survive, and giving them the confidence they need to be the best parents ever. From sleeping to crying to potty training to choosing a preschool and so much more. If you're a parent, Baby and Toddler Instructions is the show you've been looking for. Now here's your host, Blythe Lippman.
Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever in the world you might be. Thanks so much for tuning in to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I'm your host, Blythe Lippman, and it's been a long summer. I'm so excited because this is the first show of the season. And before I go on, I want to send lots of healing energy, warm thoughts, prayers, and love to those families in Texas. My goodness, the devastation. I don't even know what to say. Also, the people in Oregon with the fires and Hurricane Irma. What is this world coming to? Honestly, it's pretty scary. So, take each day, be grateful, and just do the best you can. And I see that there's lots of help going to Texas, and everybody's preparing for Irma, so stay safe. So with that, in case this is your first time tuning into the show, I've been sharing my expertise as well as my guests for over 8 years. And you can find all my podcasts on my website, My Best Parenting Advice, on toginet.com. You can buy my books at Amazon, Barnes & Noble. They're on all over the place. Great gifts, great tips, hundreds of tips to help baby, toddler parents, wonderful shower gifts. Also, I have my blog post. Check out my website, mybestparentingadvice.com. I have just updated it, lots of new info. And without further ado, let's talk a little bit to Connie Gruning from Peanut Butter and Wine. If you, again, are listening for the first time, she is on every first Wednesday of the month, and I'm so excited. So Connie's going to tell us what's hot and what's not in September, and just a really quick bio. Connie, welcome.
All right, here we go. So I'm a blogger at Peanut Butter and Wine, as in WHINE. I blog about kids things and family things, and I host giveaways. My really great thing right now is Reebok shoes. If you go to my site, there is a coupon that will get you free expedited shipping. So that's a good thing. Reebok makes really good shoes. And what I like about the classic shoes is they match moms. So you have that iconic sneaker with the timeless style, and then mother and daughter. They're so comfortable. Now, Alice is the 6-year-old that is my model in my blog post, and she forgets she has them on. This girl is one who will take her shoes off as soon as she gets in the car. So for her to keep shoes on is pretty amazing. So they're comfortable, and according to a 6-year-old, they do make you run faster and jump higher. So that is straight from a 6-year-old.
I have to say something about these shoes. I don't mean to interrupt you, but my grandfather had a shoe store for 60 years, and I used to wear shoes. It was Reebok, and they were Princess for a million years, and they're great shoes. They're great shoes for everybody. I'm so happy you have them on your site. I love them.
Yes, and they last forever. And the ones that for the kids are leather uppers, so they're gonna really last the whole school year, unless their feet, of course, grow. But these will get handed down, so I do like that. I have a giveaway running right now from Think Baby, and they are baby care essentials. I get to give away 4 of these kits. So they have shampoo and body wash. There's a body lotion and an SPF sunscreen of 50. These guys have there's no bad things. There's no harmful chemicals. But when I was reading the back of the bottle, I was laughing because they are a compassionate company that really worries about your children's skin, but they also have a sense of humor. Because despite what a lot of companies might say, bubble bath won't make your little one stop repeating any bad words that you've said recently. It will not prevent them from pulling your hair, begging them to let them take a nap, or from becoming the class clown. So I really liked that was on the bottle. There are also, I'm giving away a Remember 9/11 packet. It will have a signed, autographed poster signed by Charlie Sheen, who is starring in this movie that has 5 people. They were locked in an elevator together, and how they got there, how their days were going, and it's their story. And they were in one of the towers. So it just gives me goosebumps every time I think about it.
Yeah.
Also, I have a set of peach skin sheets, which are super, super soft. I have the movie Unleashed, which is a super, super cute movie. It's about a woman who has her pets that turn human. So she has a dog and a cat. It is hysterical. It just made me laugh every time I've watched it. I've watched it quite a few times already. My giveaways are at peanutbutterandwine, all one word, .com. And then on the right-hand side is a listing of all of the giveaways. Now, if you've never entered giveaways before, thanks to Blythe's daughter, I did a entering giveaways video tutorial, which will walk you through step by step.
And it's easy.
It is easy. It really is. And once you've done one, you're pretty much connected. All you have to do is hit the send button after you've done it once, because you're already a follower. You already do this. You already do that. And unlike a lot of bloggers, I ask you for your address. So if you win, you don't have to notify me within 24 hours. I just will automatically send your information to the sponsor to get you your prize earlier.
It's easy, and I'm so excited. I won something.
Yes,
you know what? You do win, and I have to tell you, I'm very excited that I won, that you make it so easy. Also, Connie, I have to go back to these peach skin sheets. You know, I didn't know you had them on your site, and of course I'm in there to try to get another set. I love these sheets. These sheets are like the softest things you've ever slept in, and they wash great, and they don't shrink, and they don't pill, and you know what? I don't have anything to do with the company, but I have to say, you know what? You want to be comfortable when you sleep, and these are great.
Exactly, and there's 55 colors to choose from.
A lot.
I mean, that's a lot of colors, and it's 1,500 threads per square inch. They're so soft that you would think you spent a ton of money, and they come out of the dryer wrinkle-free. I mean, I love these sheets. And on their little packet, when they send you the sheet, you have a little key ring with the P on a peach. It's
so cute. And I have to tell you, the sheet comes in a clear plastic bag. It's thick with this little key ring on it. However, if you have a toddler or even an Alice is Connie's granddaughter. She can put her Barbies in there. I took him to my 2-year-old grandson, and he put his Matchbox cars in there, and he could see, and then he took the cars and he was running them back and forth on top of this bag. So you get a toy and the sheets. Bet you didn't know that.
Exactly. And if you can convince your child to get your Legos off the floor so you're not standing on them into that plastic bag, it's even better.
Oh, yeah. Boy, that hurts when you step on a Lego.
Oh, man. Seriously. Every parent should know that. Every parent that even remotely knows Legos knows that pain in the middle of the night. One other giveaway that ends soon is the indoor-outdoor weather radio lightning detector, which would be very good in some of these states lately.
Yeah, it's scary.
It is. My heart goes out to Texas. And now Florida, oh my goodness. This has not been a good year.
No, I mean, what do? You leave your house and then there's no house. What do you do to deal with it? I mean, you know what? You want to be healthy. Everybody's healthy. Nobody's hurt. But then again, where do you start? Because there's so much. They showed all those cars last night on television that were at the raceway, that were underwater. I mean, the other question I have, what do they do with all these cars that don't work anymore?
Exactly. No. Oh, think of what these children are going through right now. I mean, thrown into a room full of strangers, for one. You lose your house. All your kids are thinking, what would you give to parents what do you tell them? I mean, I guess just hugs and hold them tight and say you can't really say it's going to be okay. It's going to be a long time before it's all okay.
Well, but I guess you do have to make sure, you're safe. And the thing is, it just warms my heart because the volunteers are coming out and people are getting the things they need, diapers and food and everything. And there was a little blurb on, I don't know if it was on 60 Minutes, about people sending things in that they don't need. So they have lists online about what you can do to donate. Of course they said cash is first, but people are sending, somebody sent a prom dress, somebody sent one high heel. This is not the place to get rid of your junk. This is a place to really send what people need. And look at the list because, like, I think of diapers. What happens if you don't have a diaper?
Exactly. Oh, my gosh. Q-tips, eye drops.
All the underwear.
You don't think of the things. Underwear.
Somebody donated a lot of underwear.
There you go. Texas,
and I don't know why I thought of this, but look at Connie's blog on Peanut Butter and Wine. She found a beautiful home in another state that we don't know if she's moving. My gosh, what gorgeous views. That's all I can say.
It's in Idaho. And there's a guest house. Hint, hint. You could come stay. I'll find you a cow to put your nose in again.
Wow. It's beautiful. Also, Connie has been doing my show for a long time, and I love that you're on the show once a month. And we got to meet in person in the summer and give each other a hug. Connie, I love you. I'm so excited you're on the show every month. We're coming down to our first commercial break, and gosh, next time I talk to you, it will be Halloween month. It will be October.
Woohoo! Oh, let's see what I can find for October. All right.
Yeah, I can't wait. So be comfortable in your Reeboks, and I will talk to you next month. Thanks so much for being on this morning. Take care.
Thank you, Blythe. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
This is Devi Kidd from newswithviews.com. My new book, Taking Politics Out of Solutions, is now available. Why is it nothing changes no matter who you vote for? My book covers the most critical issues eating this country alive, as well as the solutions that are already there that Congress and the agenda-driven media don't want you to know. From the disaster of our economy, why we will never have any economic freedom until the Fed is abolished, trade, the meltdown underway called Obamacare, the truth about Social Security and Medicare, and the fraudulent ratification of the 17th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, a very big issue that affects every American. The answers and solutions are in my book that all Americans need to read because the worst is coming at us like a freight train. To order, please call 1-800-955-0116.
It's the Fitness Minute with fitness expert Annette Hammond.
You may think that getting 5 or more servings of vegetables and fruit a day is a daunting task and may even seem unrealistic. With the price of almost everything increasing, some people think it's too expensive to buy fruit and vegetables. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, you can buy 3 servings of fruits and 4 servings of vegetables for well under $2 a day. If the taste of fruit and vegetables is not your favorite, find something low-calorie and delicious to dip them in. My children love to dip fresh vegetables like carrots, celery, broccoli, and cauliflower in ranch dressing for a nutritious and tasty snack. Dipping them into yogurt is also scrumptious. Be creative and make sure to eat at least 5 servings of fruit and vegetables a day. By doing so, you will watch your health increase and your weight decrease. For the Fitness Minute, I'm Annette Hammond.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I am going to welcome my next guest, Judy Dippel, in just 1 second. But I want to tell you, if you're listening and you have a question, a comment, want to say good morning, you know how I love callers, you can call us at the toll-free number at 877-864-4869 and talk to us. Anyway, my next guest, Judy Dippel, is not a therapist or medical professional. To assure accuracy, she has consulted with a perinatal therapist throughout writing this book. She's written a wonderful book called Breaking the Grip of Postpartum Depression. And, you know, Judy is also a mom. She's a grandma. She's a book author, a speaker, a wife, a mother. She has 4 grandchildren, and she's the first to admit I will never arrive and have it all together. Even so, I appreciate how every day brings each of us a fresh start and new opportunities. Boy, isn't this the truth, Judy? You know, I am going to let you talk more about what you do because you can do it best, but I wanted to just give a little bio. And I'm sitting here with your wonderful book, Breaking the Grip of Postpartum Depression. And anybody that listens knows that I am so lucky to get books from my guests, but I never turn down the corners. So I have about, maybe 10 sticky notes in here, the pages I love and want to ask you a question about. So, Judy, welcome to the show. Hope the smoke is clearing in Oregon. You know, I wish everybody the best. The fires out there are terrible, so stay safe, and I hope it rains and they go out soon.
Hi, good morning, Blythe. Thank you so much for that introduction, and thank you for having me. Yes, we are. If I sound a little hoarse, seriously, it looks like fog outside my house a little bit still. It's crazy, but we're safe, and we are doing much better than they are in Houston for sure. I know as far as people go. So I'm just grateful this morning I think we're supposed to get some rain in the next couple days, so I'm sure it's going to start clearing out and clearing up some of those forest fires.
Yeah, let's hope so. So, you know, I gave a tiny bit of a bio. You know, talk some more. How did this start? When did you decide to write this book? And you're on.
Yes, you know, about 14 years ago, I actually quit my day job and began writing a book about the motherhood journey. It's called Refreshing Hope in God and A Mother's Journey of Joy and Pain. That was my very first book, but from that, I knew that I had to write a book on postpartum depression itself because my motherhood journey started with postpartum depression. And having been a person that had never been depressed, considered myself fairly intelligent about pregnancy because I had worked in OBGYN actually for 6 years as a medical assistant. So, you know, you feel like you know what it's all about. But my world was turned a little upside down as a new mom, and so I knew I had to write about it. And I really just came out with this book this year, workbook in some earlier years for small groups with postpartum depression, but I just felt I couldn't not get more information out. Unfortunately, women remain in the dark even today about this subject. It's misunderstood. It's so bizarre and it's unexplainable oftentimes. And the sad part is most women affected. I'm not talking baby blues, which 80% of the women feel. That's, you know, where you're tired, you're fatigued, you're crying, you're sad maybe for 2 to 6 weeks after the birth of your baby. But postpartum depression is very bizarre. It's a very dark place oftentimes and a place of shame that women feel like they're a bad mom. And definitely, I know in my case, and I know this is true for most women that truly have clinical postpartum depression, you feel like you're the only one. So you often don't share the information about how you're feeling.
And I think, too, in our society, you have a baby, it's supposed to be the best part of your life. People will tell you it's the best part. You're going to bond with your baby immediately. And some of those things are just not true. It is the best part of your life, but you know what? It's not easy. And what what always used to make me laugh, like everybody else, and I took care of babies my whole life. When I had my daughter, I thought, oh, I'm going to know what to do, and it's going to be easy. And I have to tell you, I was ready to move my bed into the pediatrician's office because I was nervous. There was nothing wrong with her, thank goodness, but I took her in there for every little thing, and I was upset, and, it's not what we think.
It isn't. And you know as well as anybody doing this show, and I'm so glad you're doing this show, because I think Facebook and social media has really only kind of made it worse in a way, because everybody puts their perfect out there, right? They put their best face and their good happenings, and mothers tend to compare, and I always say don't compare with other mothers, but and remember that even in the park, mothers are usually putting on their best face. So I'm just so glad you do this show, because motherhood, I always say it's the hardest job you will ever do. And it's interesting with women in so many careers. I can say, yeah, go for it. But let me just tell you, your motherhood is the most important thing you'll do, and it's the hardest thing you will ever do.
It is, and you talk about being in the park, and let's talk about, it's unsaid, but there's competition. When you go to the park with your kids, you're looking at the other mothers. What do they wear? Is their kid hitting your kid? That's the other piece. And I'm so happy that you wrote this book, because the biggest thing is that you said that moms are ashamed, so they don't ask for help. They don't say, they say what's wrong with me and then go on.
That's right. And the thing about postpartum depression, and I think it's understanding the facts, and I unfortunately didn't have the facts. I didn't have doctors giving me the facts in the 70s when I had my children. I hate to admit how old I am, because I don't feel that old. But
we're the same young age.
We are.
That's
It's
right.
just so, but I've learned so much, and I guess that's what I like to share with mothers, because I still feel like I'm back in that place as a new mother. And I know I asked my daughter, and she said the biggest problem is the competition moms feel. So if a mom is suffering from postpartum depression, you can't explain it, and it's hard for me to put words on it sometimes, but you appear normal, to other people. But inside, it's just a different story. And there's depression along with oftentimes perinatal mood disorders, which could be post-traumatic stress or anxiety or obsessive-compulsive kinds of behaviors. It can go, as we know, as far as psychosis, but that's like 1 in 1,000 people. I don't even like to bring it up, but we do see those headlines, and it's a result of, I believe, people not getting the help they need. And it's a complex topic, but it's just, I guess if anyone is feeling bizarre, and they just can't explain it, I say to myself, or I said to myself when I first experienced it, I woke up one morning literally and looked in the mirror and thought, who is this person? It happened that quickly, and I guess that's important for women to know. It can happen overnight, and sometimes, like in my case, before you ever deliver your baby, some of these symptoms can start, and that's often misunderstood.
Well, you say that postpartum depression can be misleading because, let's face it, when you're carrying a baby, it's not comfortable. You have to go to the bathroom every 5 seconds towards the end. You don't sleep. And, sometimes you're depressed because you think you see people with the women that are just breeze through pregnancy, or maybe they don't and they don't admit it. But
right.
So
no,
how do you know?
It's true. Go ahead. Say that again.
I was going to say, when you have these symptoms before you deliver the baby, is that the time you go and ask the doctor about it?
Yes. If you start feeling, and I was really ignorant because I had never been depressed in my life. Now, some people with a history of depression obviously would maybe have more of a propensity towards postpartum depression, not necessarily, but at least they would understand more about depression. And because mine was accompanied with anxiety and some obsessive-compulsive phobias, things that were irrational, and I knew it, but that didn't make it go away, I didn't tell anybody because I thought when I deliver, this will go away. I thought this is just part of the whole, the estrogen and the progesterone all upside down. And, I just really thought it would go away when I delivered. And I had a lot of phobias and superstitions, and I was walking in fear every day. And it was like you know how when you wake up and you're momentarily yourself, and then suddenly I wasn't myself. And I had I call it was like a tiger waiting to pounce. I felt like this huge dark dread of my life every day. But I thought it'll go away when I deliver, but it didn't. And I guess I would say anybody, if they have any sudden changes, to answer your question, whether it be physical symptoms or mental, emotional type symptoms, please go to your doctor. And I will say that to tell you that some doctors will still kind of poo-poo these kinds of things. I want to mention to your listeners right up front, postpartum.net is Postpartum Support International. And on that website, Blythe, is so much information. And they also, you can go into each state and you can find people. They will help you find someone who can give you support for postpartum depression. Because just because someone's a doctor or even a psychiatrist or a psychologist does not necessarily mean that they are one of those who are really up to speed with postpartum depression. I mean, that's terrible to say, but if somebody could have explained to me, you're not the only one, you will get better, this won't last forever, you're not going crazy, because I literally thought I was. So what women need right up front is a professional, a medical professional, or a counselor that understands postpartum depression. Because
I'm glad you're saying that, and I'm going to put postpartum.net. I will put that on my site as well, because if you go to your doctor and you feel like you're not being heard, it's okay to go to another professional. It's okay to ask one of your friends. You know what? Absolutely. It's all okay. But saying that, it's got to be okay for me to stop talking, because here comes a commercial. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Blythe.
Baby love, my baby love, I need you, oh, I need you.
We'll be right back with more help. For help, my baby came without instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
Baby love, my baby love, I need you, oh, I need you.
It's words you never heard.
Have you ever butt dialed someone accidentally? According to a report, for every 100 calls made to 911 this year, about 40 were dialed unintentionally. Recently, a mother in Canada called police after receiving a nightmarish cell phone call from her daughter, filled with blood-chilling screams and a man shouting murderous threats. Police discovered that the girl was at a movie theater in Victoria. Anticipating the worst, the cops were preparing to descend on the cinema when a dispatcher tried calling the girl's cell phone one last time. The girl answered her phone and explained she was not being attacked by a murderer, but was watching the horror film Cabin in the Woods. What do you call the activity of being impolite in a social situation by looking at your phone instead of paying attention to the person you are with? Fubbing.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
It's the Fitness Minute with fitness expert Annette Hammond.
Fox News recently reported that exercise slows the onset of memory loss and dementia, and that losing your memory is not an inevitable part of life. Multiple research shows having a healthy lifestyle and staying mentally challenged may lower your chance for diminished memory. Exercise counteracts the brain shrinkage that occurs with age. Studies have shown that while older exercisers gain 2% of brain volume, non-exercisers lost brain tissue. The benefits of exercise amass early, and the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine found that people in their 20s who exercised on a regular basis had a better memory compared to those that did not exercise. Exercise in midlife can significantly reduce the incidence of dementia 3 decades later. For the Fitness Minute, I'm Annette Hammond, keeping you healthy, happy, and fit.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I'm Blythe Lipman, your host, and I am here with my second guest, Judy Dippel, who's written her newest book, Breaking the Grip of Postpartum Depression. I have to tell you, this is such a great book, and before we end the show, she's going to give you a couple tips from the back of her book, one that I like especially, that I'm going to put into my life, even though I don't have a young baby. So, Judy, you talked about anxiety, and you talked about having some of the symptoms before you had the baby. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you something. If you do, because we were talking about this before the break, if you do go to your doctor and he or she kind of poo-poos it, and you don't know about the site postpartum.net, where do you go? I mean, how do you get your courage up and go to the next place? Who do you call?
It's interesting. In every community, the services are different, but perhaps a local hospital would be a place, to call, and maybe people that like a La Leche League or some of the different organizations that offer services to new moms. They might have names of people in your community, and postpartum depression obviously is much more known about. Famous people like Brooke Shields and Marie Osmond have written their books about this topic. They experienced it, and I was really glad to see that because big names really get that attention. So more people are aware, and I think in most communities, any women that are into motherhood. However, I want to say, please, this is so important. Sometimes people look at you like you're odd because it's so bizarre. If there's a mother or a friend or a family member, and oftentimes it's your own mother who's experienced it, and you finally break down and you share the story of how you're feeling and you can't explain it and you feel crazy, and they look at you and go, I never experienced that. They're going to make you feel like you are weirder, right? But right. I just want to say they can't help it. They don't understand because they haven't experienced it. So then move on to however many medical people or natural health care doctors perhaps to reach out to that can get you to someone who really is knowledgeable about postpartum depression. Just keep going. I have to say I lost a lot of faith in doctors during my experience, but again, that was many years ago. But I did because they just wanted to kind of say, you're a new mom, this is to be expected, you'll get over it, blah, 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 with nothing concrete. And the sad part is when you really literally believe you are going crazy, or you have to find help with someone that can say, this is a common symptom of postpartum depression, the clinical postpartum depression. And it's not exactly like depression. So it's also important to talk to someone who really, I would just say the question to ask is, are you informed about clinical postpartum depression? Can you help me to understand it? Can you help me walk through it? To really pin a doctor down, and if they kind of poo-poo it, go to someone else for sure.
Do not be ashamed to go anyplace. I think it would be great that when the baby is born, along with the take-home package, there should be my book, Help My Baby Came Without Instructions, and your book about postpartum depression, because the hospitals have changed so much now, and I think it would be great if the medical professionals would say something about it when you're in the hospital.
It would be. My daughter is actually a midwife, a certified midwife, and she does a lot of counseling, but she has said that too because she worked as a doula in the hospital a lot. And I don't know how much is out there, but there's not enough. And and also the symptoms vary from woman to woman so much. But I will always say, if it's bizarre, if it feels and thinks, if you're thinking bizarre, things that you are uncommon, it's very likely it could be postpartum depression because it's just so out of whack. You're just so out of whack, I guess.
I have to ask you, what's bizarre, in your opinion?
Bizarre to me was suddenly, and I hadn't experienced depression, I learned later, that I was observing myself, that I was really just going through the motions. I was outside my body, almost feeling like I was observing myself. I would wake up with complete feelings of doom. I would wake up and just have this darkness, it's like a dark cloud just hovered over me, and I had this just horrible feeling of doom. And it was the phobias. I had constant threads of fearful thoughts going through my head. And I had worked as a medical assistant, and it's so strange, but one of the fears was I was going to die. I was sure I was going to die, and I felt I had multiple sclerosis. I thought I had all these diseases. I mean, I really thought it was real, even though in my mind I kept saying, this isn't real. It didn't matter. I was convinced I was going to die. I was convinced doctors were not going to diagnose me, and my child was going to be left without a mother. Now, that kind of a continual thought pattern, just, what can you say except I'm going crazy, right? It was just terrible. And then physical symptoms, of course, your brain, neurologically, it controls everything else in your body. So I started having a rapid heartbeat of 125 and over all the time, hot sweats, thirst, a lot of things that were physical symptoms that actually started after I delivered my daughter, physical symptoms. So, when you go to the doctor with a list of 2 pages of symptoms, what are they going to say to you? You're a little bit of a hypochondriac, right? Oftentimes you'll get that, I can't find anything wrong in your blood work. I can't see anything wrong as I examine you. So that only perpetuates the craziness and the feeling of craziness. I'm telling you. And I was ashamed to tell my own doctors I worked for these thoughts I was having. I was so embarrassed, Blythe. In fact, I used to draw blood. That was part of my job. And I even at one point thought I had syphilis. I thought I must have syphilis and I'm going to go crazy.
It's tough, too, because when you have a new baby, you have such sleep deprivation that,
right.
The difference between postpartum depression and I didn't get enough sleep and I'm acting like a crazy person, it's hard to figure out what it is. So once you do find a professional that says, yes, let's work on this, do they work on it with counseling? Do they put you on medication because, you may be nursing your baby? What are the possible things they can do to help you?
Well, I'll tell you, and this is what really made me want to get my book out there, was the facts help you most of all. I mean, it doesn't change how you feel, but the facts, because when you really are a person that thinks they're going crazy or perhaps think you're going to harm your baby, I want to say, too, real quickly, a person that thinks they might do something like fall down the stairs or do something, they have a thought like that repeats that they'll harm their baby by doing something. It's really important. This is one of the most critical things to understand. You will not be a person that harms your baby. You have obsessive-compulsive disorder, probably, a perinatal mood disorder that goes along with postpartum depression. And the counselors that I worked with on my book, they said a person that feels that way, it's because they're overly conscientious about their baby, that they're having these thoughts of something harmful happening to their baby, and it's really OCD, obsessive-compulsive kind of behaviors, and it's very treatable. Now, back to your question, talking about it, getting the information to understand what craziness is happening in you is 3/4 of the battle. I felt like a balloon that was about ready to pop, and then the air was released when my mother reached out to a woman in her generation who had experienced something similar. Just to know another person had experienced it right there. But so then the understanding the facts, understanding you're not the only one, understanding you will get better, and understanding you're not going crazy is the first step. and then having someone to continuously talk to as you walk through it. And also medication is often a good plan in some cases. I think with nursing, obviously women have to, use discretion with that. But good food, good nutrition, no sugar, I will say no sugar, and all the white carbs that aren't good for us. Eat a lot of whole foods. I could go on a long list with that, but all of those things, as people walk forward, if they get the professional help they need, will be of great benefit.
It's so important that you're sharing all this, and I honestly thank you for sharing your experience, because, again, you could have said, well, I had this, and I'm not going to tell anybody about it. Mm-hmm. And, talking about getting the facts from a medical professional, once somebody understands, or even, like I always talk about having girlfriend time. Once you have a baby, you need to have that girlfriend time.
Right.
Because if you both have babies and somebody else says, yeah, my baby did this and my baby did that, you go, oh, okay, you know what? It's okay. Because we do. And I think one of your biggest messages with your book and your information is that women that may have postpartum depression feel like they're alone. They're embarrassed. They can't say anything, or they think it's lack of sleep, or, it's a new chapter in their life. And, there's so many things. I think the aloneness is really scary.
It's extremely scary. And I know a lot of women feel like they're really bad moms, and that's just the most sad thing, because it really is just a circumstance that has happened to them. It's not something they have any control over.
Right.
I mean, they can make the choices to get help, and that they can control. They can make the choice to eat whole foods, eat right, try to get more rest. In my book, I talk a lot about the wellness strategies, and they may seem simplistic, but the truth of it is we don't take good care of ourselves as women, and especially as new moms. We don't put ourselves first, and there's some deliberate choices women can make.
I have to interrupt you here, because I'm not going to be a good host. I'm going to be a bad host, because we're having another commercial break. When we come back, we will talk more to Judy Dippel, author of Breaking the Grip of Postpartum Depression.
We'll be right back with more Help My Baby Came Without Instructions. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet. We'll be right back right after these.
It's words you never heard.
I always get a kick out of the warning labels companies attach to prevent lawsuits from the hooky-crooky of this world. A warning label on a dishwasher cautioned not to put any person in the unit. Speaking of dishwashers, one product warning on a television remote control read, not dishwasher safe. That's too bad, because we know how dirty the remote control gets. In fact, we press the buttons even harder when we know the battery is dead. What are we, part of the ridiculati? A warning on a baby stroller read, remove child before folding. Here's one for the blunderbusses and popinjays among us. A label on a letter opener read, safety goggles recommended. Call me snarky, but any society that needs this many disclaimers has too many lawyers, pettifoggers, and snollygosters.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and you can have fun challenging your words you never heard vocabulary with my free app, Too Funny for Words.
It's the Fitness Minute with fitness expert Annette Hammond.
Do you need to improve your short-term and long-term memory? Most of us would answer yes to that. And the good news is that by eating a handful of nuts, you can accomplish that. Nuts of all kinds are full of magnesium, and researchers at MIT found that magnesium seems to promote new connections between brain cells. Nuts, especially cashews and almonds, boast about 25% of your daily requirement of magnesium. Nuts are also a hearty snack and stick with you when you eat them. Be aware though, if you're watching your weight, nuts are high in calories. I love nuts, and for a snack I put a few almonds in a baggie, along with some raisins, and it's a great snack to take with me on the run. The chewy and crunchy element is good also. So improve your brain power and consume a small amount of nuts several times per week. I'm Annette Hammond.
Welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet, the hour for all moms with little ones to come for great advice, encouragement, and great ideas for all new parents. Now, back to the show with Blythe Lipman.
Well, welcome back to Baby and Toddler Instructions. I'm here with my wonderful guest, Judy Dippel, author of Breaking the Grip of Postpartum Depression. And she is one brave person. I am so grateful to you, Judy, for admitting what you went through and letting women see that there's no crime in asking for help because, like we were saying during the break, it doesn't even have to be postpartum depression. There's such a stigma around depression or any kind of mental things. We're all different and life is tough. And, sometimes you need to talk to somebody and know that you can look at life with a different perspective or take medication or change your diet or, all those things. But before we go on to your life strategies, where can my listeners find your book?
Yes, it is on Amazon.com, and it's in paperback and in Kindle form. And it is also, if people are Kindle Matchbook, if they're qualified for that, the Kindle is $2.99. If they happen to be Kindle Unlimited members on Amazon, the Kindle version of Breaking the Grip of Postpartum Depression is free. So, it is available, and paperback, Kindle, and in those special offers that Amazon makes. So that's fabulous.
I also see, too, that on postpartum.net, if you get Judy's book and the next step is to call somebody, they have a free international number, which I will also put on my website.
Oh, good.
So it's great to have that site to talk to somebody. Anyway, I know you're a grandma and you're a parent. Do you have a favorite parenting or grandma tip, one or two, that you would like to share?
Oh, my goodness. Of course. I always laugh, and I truly believe this, and I think I even believe it more now that I have older children, right? We will never be perfect mothers. That would be my number one tip. Except that we will never be perfect mothers. And the interesting part, how I say I never will arrive and have it all together. I really believe we try to grow up our children. Our goal is to grow them up. What we don't know when we're young moms is that we're growing up right along with them. And I encourage moms to think, how am I a better person because of this hard time I went through with my child or this stage I went through with my child? How am I changing? How am I growing right along with them? So I think it's always important to just know that's never ending. Even now as a grandmother, I'm like, oh, I need to learn something new here, So and not being perfect. Even if some of your friends put themselves out there as perfect, know that they aren't. No one is. So that's kind of a freeing kind of philosophy, I think.
We just do the best we can, and whoever came up with the word perfect, I don't know. You can say we have the perfect cookie. My cake came out perfect and didn't burn. But we're always changing, and it's funny because Judy and I were talking the other day about being a grandma and the things we learn. And, and the one thing I said, I had asked one of my friends when my daughter was pregnant, what's your number one piece of advice? And her advice was zip it. Do not share any information unless your child asks you how to. Don't say, if you do this with the baby, this will be better. Zip it. And you know what? She was right.
That's
because
right.
Then they do come back to you and ask you.
Then you can unzip it, right? And I think I told Blythe, I said I bought the book, When to Speak Up and When to Shut Up. It was at just my grocery store, and my children were thrilled when I bought that book.
That's so funny. Well, I love that tip because we're always growing and changing. Mm-hmm. So moving on about the postpartum depression, I mean, we could do girl talk all the time, but let's talk about your book a little more.
Okay.
In the back of Judy's book, it's wonderful. She has all these self-help things to do. She touched a little bit before the break about eating healthy and not sugar and no white carbs. And, we all know that every day. The less sugar, the less white carbs. And I know when we're tired and cranky, the first thing we want is a cookie, a piece of candy, some chips, something not good for us. So one of the things in the back that I love, Judy says every day is new, and she says that we should have a monthly PJ day. I love it.
That's right. Give yourself some downtime. Give yourself permission to just stay in your PJs and hang out, and send the husband and the kids, or the partner and the kids, or whomever, send the kids somewhere, and if you can, and be by yourself, or have a friend help you with your kids. Bring them in and have them come in with their PJs and just hang out and enjoy, watch movies, whatever. Do it. Yes.
You're never too old for a pajama party.
Never. No. If you come to Oregon, we'll do one, Blythe.
We should definitely do it. And then on page 188 in Judy's book, it says, the humor spot. I've often wondered why children don't come with warning labels. In the last trimester of my pregnancy, I fantasized about our new family. In my dreams, of course, I was the perfect mother. But I got over it. So just what you said about, we're perfect. If you want to use perfect, we're all perfect the way we are. We're all different. So what else can new moms do if they're struggling with postpartum depression? Are there everyday things? Do you get up and meditate? What other things do you have that can be helpful?
Yeah, I know in my case, and I know not everyone is a believing person in God, but in my case, God really became huge in my life. So I used, my Bible came alive for me the first time. So I did that, but meditation or whatever faith you have, I would say turn to that and seek those kind of wellness, spiritual activities that make you feel good. And I think fresh air has just a magic effect on us. Go out and get outside. If you don't feel like walking, hopefully you do, just walk around your block or walk wherever you can. Or go out and sit on your balcony if you live in an apartment in a city. Get some fresh air, breathe some fresh air. Concentrate on the birds, Try to get your mind on some of the beauty that's around you. Use all your senses, what you see, what you hear, what you feel when the leaves crunch under your feet. That kind of thing refreshes us. It's just a natural refreshment. It doesn't cost anyone anything, but make time to do that if possible. And know that your dreams are still real. Your dreams for your child are still real, and they feel like they're shattering a bit during postpartum depression because you're not living up to those expectations you felt you had to. Nobody else is saying that, but you have those own inner expectations. So know those dreams are still alive and well, and that you will be a stronger person and a better mother one day because of all of this hard experience. I fully believe that.
A real truth is that as difficult as it is, we learn so much from the tough times that we go through, and we do come out stronger, and we look back and we say, wow, you know what, I got through that, and boy, did I learn some things. Mm-hmm. Because as you say, every day is new, and maybe one day doesn't feel so good, but maybe in 3 hours it'll be better. We spend a lot of time with our children telling them to crunch the leaves and find the colors. We need to do that for ourselves, especially as women. But on that note, I have to say goodbye because we are coming to the end of the show. I would love to have you come back on the show again.
Okay. I would love to.
Thank you so much. And again, I will put all your information on my website. You have a wonderful day. I hope the smoke clears. Stay safe, and thanks so much for being on my show.
Thank you, and thanks to all your listeners.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Wow, what a great show. First show of the season. I love my guests, and I always learn so much from them. If you want to be a guest, go to my website, mybestparentingadvice.com, and you can contact me there. You can call my office at 877-864-4869. Next week, my guest will be Dr. Eli Adler. He's going to be talking about your children's milestones. He just developed a new app to help you with that. Makes it easy. Also, please visit me on Facebook. I have 2 pages, My Best Parenting Advice, Baby Instructions. I'm on Twitter. I do Periscopes. I'm on Pinterest. I'm on Instagram. So contact me, be on the show. If you have a question about your baby or toddler and it's not medical, you can ask me as well. I've been doing this for over 40 years, and I love what I do. And don't forget, September 10th is Grandparents' Day. So love those grandparents. I love being a grandma. Also, if you know me, you'll remember that I like to end each show with a little humor. Laughing at least once a day makes everything feel better. So here's a little humor to end the show today. Diaper, D-I-A-P-E-R, spelled backwards, is repaid. Think about that when all those diapers are being changed. That moment as a parent when you realize your child has left the room and you've been sitting there watching Sesame Street all by yourself. Boy, I'll tell you what, when you have a toddler and things get quiet and you're all by yourself, that makes me panic. You got to see what they're doing because toddlers love to explore everything. And finally, my kids call it yelling when I raise my voice. I call it motivational speaking for the selective hearing. Aren't your little ones, don't they have selective hearings? You know, I had a mom tell me that asking her little one to get dressed caused the biggest thing, like she was ending their life. So if you have babies or toddlers, or you're expecting a baby, you know what? Nothing is perfect, but everything is perfect. We're all different. Take time each and every day to do something special with your little one. And I have to say this, write it down. You know what? Get a book. The funny things that your kids do, you think you're going to remember, especially with baby number 2, 3, 4, however many babies you have. Write your things down. We're so lucky now with our smartphones. Take lots of pictures because as your kids get older, they're going to want to hear what they did when they were little. And they'll say, tell me again, Mommy, tell me again. I've told so many stories over and over. So write everything down. And again, visit my website, mybestparentingadvice.com. I just did a blog post called What's in Your House, which will help you if you have a bored toddler. You have lots of things in your house that you probably didn't even think of that could make great activities. So I want to wish everybody well. Again, sending my prayers to those people in Texas, to everybody bracing for Hurricane Irma. I hope it goes away. To Oregon, all the forest fires, you know, take each day, be grateful, enjoy your little ones. So thanks for tuning in today. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.